Just laying here, listening to Neville Goddard and taking in what he's saying. And there are things that are different here in my room. I'm aware of it, and I want it all returned. No one has any right. No one had any contract, any right, any standing, any permission, nothing to come in here and and reach into my bed where I was sleeping and take anything from me. There is no, it's going to be returned. That's all there is to it. I see it back in my hands. I see it back in my hands working as it was before or better. As it was before or better. Saw that 53. It's going to work as it was before or better. So I can get deeper conversations, more enlightened, more answers. I woke up knowing that things had changed. I woke up to another misguided, quote-unquote, dream, and I fixed it. Whilst I was still sleeping, I spoke and fixed it and everything. I had to fix it a couple times because it didn't make any fucking sense. Why these people from my past are coming in, why... It does not make sense. The only thing I know waking up and looking over at that bottle there, my Soleil bottle, I know that it's changed. Somehow something about that has changed. It's not right from before. And also, I had to speak up during my dream and correct some funny business that was going on in there. And I did. I caught it right in mid-thing, even though I was listening. I also went to bed, and before I went to bed, I called in the ancestors, the elements, the ascended masters, benevolent, loving, supportive beings, all of that. God source energy even, and asked that they be with me last night, through the night, so that I could rest. And then I found that 1 through 10, that documentary, that research that detailed everything about the cabal, knowing that I was connected to everybody. So I let that play and still had a little conversation with it while it played, knowing that everything was getting exposed. And it played for a long while. I did wake up this morning and then turn it off after a while, but and then I was letting my mind float, and that's when I had those additional thoughts that are like, yeah, this doesn't make sense, and stuff trying to play out and everything. And I just know I am so I'm right there with finding out how, I've almost synced in. Well, no, I haven't almost synced in. When you're that close, you're sinking in. That is like the seal on these things, how they seal. I've synced in. I've already synced in. I've already sealed 404. I've already sealed my co-created everything. I'm there. It's just a matter of just receiving. And how do I receive? Well, that just hit me just now. I was listening to somebody talk about Judas, Neville Goddard, and how Neville Goddard said that Judas really was acting out of love when he identified Jesus through a kiss and took the 30 pieces of silver and let him, die and everything, because it's basically, we have to, if Judas is a representation of Jesus, another form of himself being pressed out, because if Jesus is God, right, just like I am God and all these other people around me are supposed to be representations of me, which I still don't agree to. Not everybody, especially not evil, because I'm not evil. I don't think in evil ways. I don't get it, and I will never accept it. Never, ever, ever accept it, because I'm not evil. I would never, ever, ever, ever dishonor God's spark with hurting anybody else like that. I can stand with and accept responsibility for being the karmic in somebody else's world, or in karmic by the karmic lesson, or the instigator or something, but I never did evil. I might have been a bitch, I might have been rude, even narcissistic, but I never fucking did evil. I never wanted anybody to be oppressed, to be raped, to be murdered. The only ones that I did want, things to happen to, of course, are the ones that are committing those things. And I don't see that as being wrong. I mean, if you're putting that out there, you should experience what you're putting out. I put out a lot of love. I'm ready to experience that for myself. But anyway, what he was saying was that if you look at Judas, because he didn't do evil towards God, but he did point him out, and he did betray him. So there's a difference there. So then God had to die to live again. As Jesus. So that's why Jesus died. But in this case, I chuckle. I still chuckle at the thing that's saying, well, I'm not Jesus. Well, in the regard, and I still say that, and I still find it funny, but there's a bit of that ascended master in all of us. We do have to let go and have our egos die to let go, to move forward in everything. Our old selves die. What's holding us back needs to die. So that there's a truth there. As far as that's the truth that I learned from the ascended master known as Jesus. And then for me, the part that says that I'm not Jesus, I don't mean it like that. I mean it in the fact that I'm not dying for anybody else's sins, whether that was his intent or just written in to get people to maybe try and fool, even people like me who are waking up to do this for the evil fucks that are doing. And maybe that was their goal and stuff. And maybe this is an epiphany where I figured out that bullshit and stuff. Because I will never, ever, ever accept that anyone evil is a mirrored part of me. It not. Never, ever, 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 ever. It's not. We can learn to hate and stuff, and might adopt and be misguided, but I was never, ever, 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 never, ever evil to anybody else. And as I say this, I search my body, and I cannot find a lack of light. I am filled with light. Every pixel, every micro being of me, every cell of me has light in it. I have never, ever, ever once denounced God in that way. I may have been stupid and denounced him and been embarrassed, but that's because of the stigma and the shame and the stuff that they put, you know. And I fell asleep to that, and I acknowledged all that. I acknowledged that I was asleep, so I put that in there, and I never spoke it out by itself, but I acknowledged it, and I know that the God Spark and the God Source and everything already knew that. And so that's why it's not held against us, because they knew that we just felt, this day and age, how many years that they had been, even if we look at a short season of 1,000 years or lifetimes, I don't know. Resets, I have no idea how they would have reworked that, but they would have figured out all these little subtle ways of fucking with us and stuff. So, and because I am God and I claim this, and I have grace for others, and I claim that, but I also have clear boundaries for those that did corruption, did evil, and did tyranny, and purposely held people back, held them down, killed them off, made them suffer. That was not all for our growth and everything. They took great pleasure in all of that. It would be one thing if it was just for our growth and stuff, and if they weren't fighting so hard to keep this bullshit going. You know what I'm saying? So I picked up on the differences, I know, and so that's why I know this can't go on further. But the thing that I'm being asked to today is, can I let it go? Do I have to be the one to hold him captive? No, I don't. And I don't have to be the I let it all go. I truly let it go. I release. It is not for me to hold. It's not for me to, I just need to witness. I don't need to be that part of it. Everything that's mine has been returned to me. Everything that's mine has been returned to me. Everything that's mine that's been returned to me. I declare, all that is mine is here now. All that is due for me is here now. I declare, it is my harvest time, and I have planted enough love that I can collect. I get to collect on all the love that I have spread out all over. I'm feeling in my body to see if there's any resistance anywhere. I'm feeling to feel that it gets settled. Because I am settling into my manifested life. It's been here. I just wasn't settled into it like this. I wasn't settled into it like this. I'm now settled into it like this. It's sealed. It's like a Tupperware. You seal it all the way around. The thing about doves came up today, and doves being a sign, like when Noah sent out the dove and everything. And I remember, there's dove on the street of the of where of the house that I live in Arizona. I found a pattern between, AK and Arizona. AK representing Alaska, Arizona representing A through Z, everything. I live in a land of everything. It's not a partial land like AK. That's only partial. It's not the full alphabet, whereas Arizona, AZ, is the full alphabet, or at least our English alphabet. And that's the one that matters to me because that's the one that I identify with in this realm. It's what I grew up in. So I'm awake and I'm operating fully in alignment. Oh, let me get my right hand fully in alignment with myself and speaking these truths, knowing that they are pixelating, knowing that they are creating, and knowing that things are coming from this. And all this time, like I said, when you go through all this, it's like doing your life review, like before you actually die previously, when you would leave your vessel and everything, because I won't be leaving my vessel. Like everything, all our bodies are turning crystalline and upgrading and everything like that, but I do have to die to this area, to this current representation that I'm looking at and seeing. And so I do die to this to be able to receive and have my new vision, my new view, the sun, the grass, the house, everything. All that is mine, and I'm there now. It's like I'm just about to come through the porthole on the other side. I've gone I'm just double checking to make sure this vision that I have isn't one that I'm forcing, but one that's coming to me, because that's the difference. If you have to force it, that's you making it, that's you controlling. But if it comes to you fully formed, that's that's truth coming to you and through you to show you through visions that you've done everything, and I've done everything, and I'm at that moment. I'm ready to move on. I declare. I've moved on. I declare I live in the sun. I am living in the sun. I declare. I declare. I declare, and I know, and things are happening. I saw some other things. I saw some other proof of manifestation for us all. I saw proof. Oh yeah, and then the dove. So Noah sent out the dove or doves in search of land, and he had to send them out a few times. And so the sign of the dove means that you're really close. Or land is there and it's done and it's ready. And then it hit me. It's like, I know my address doesn't say Dove Street, but on the map it said North White Dove. So I know that means that's done. That's how I take it, as everything's done. And then I just needed to figure out what was holding me back, and it came to me. I may not be evil and accept that, and I'm not going to accept evil. That's just not going to happen. But do I have to hold on so tight that it holds me here in this house? No. Can I trust that even if I leave this house that things are going to get taken care of? Yes. Can I trust that not just that in my 3D world, but that evil will never move on from this realm? Yes, I can trust that. I am God of this realm. I am God. But I don't have to hold on so tight. I can trust the bigger God, the non-encased God, which is still me. I was 22, 23, to take over and watch everything, because it still is me, just in another format, in a much bigger, in a whole format, as opposed to a small piece of a format. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that also kind of helps with the AK and the AZ clarification. And if I want to live in the AZ, where I have everything, all my manifested dreams and desires, and not just dreams and desires, powers and abilities and everything like that, I need to not be here in the partial, in the AK. And I want to be where it's mostly sunny all the years. I don't care if I don't see snow for a while. It's not time for snow anymore. It's time for sun and bright and light and love and light. It also dawned on me. I saw that thing about dawned. So children are being saved in Venezuela too. But it also, where was I going with that? I had another epiphany that I was about to share, but I had already had it. It was just triggered to share it, and then I spoke about the dawn, but it doesn't matter. It was still there. Oh yeah, it seems like there was more. It seems like that dream, that wandering, that meandering that I had earlier today wasn't just one realm. It seemed like it was a few realms. And it just seemed so out there and weird and stuff. And just some rewrite was trying to take place, and I wouldn't allow it and stuff and everything. And I figured out why one person was, did, evil things towards me out of whatever feelings she had for my mom, but I get that, but I didn't do it. And yet I suffered. I suffered because of her. And I only know that because that's what she wrote in her story. And yeah, like I said, I can't forgive evil. I can take my hands off it, take my attention off of it, and leave it for God to deal with. Yeah, I can do that, but I can't forgive it. I'm not gonna forgive evil. And I'm not gonna give it any more of my attention. The things that come up and stuff, I will continue to look at it as though I was looking at, gravel. I'll see it in its whole entirety, but I'm not going to focus on any one thing, and I don't give it any focus. Nothing of me, myself, and I, known as Michi Robinson, God of this realm, will ever help to fuel or support or anything that's evil or oppressive or seditious, treasonous, whatever. Nope, 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 nope. And I know that that's also had some political talk in there and stuff, but that's part of where, Michi lives. She lives in, in that realm of the United States, and she's entitled to play consciously how she wants to play, and that's how she wants to play. So all we can do is support her and trust. She's made it this far. I've made it this far. Knowing what I know, doing what I've been doing and everything. And I think I figured out the only thing I needed to do left was to really fully step out of this suit. Oh, wow. There was a time when I was a young girl, and I couldn't get any dates and stuff. And it seemed like nobody was interested in me, and I thought it was because, I thought it was because of my skin color. But it could have just been my light. But in any event, I used to think and wish I could find the zipper in the back of my neck so that I could take off this suit. Interesting. So, in expanding on that and taking a bit further, that means that to die, this is the teachable moment here, to die from this world means to take off this meat suit, put on one that looks like this, but it's fresh and new, right? It's fresh and new. New and improved and everything. And for now, for me, when I switch into the Michi, seal it in, it will seem and feel like I've put on the same suit, when in fact I haven't. I'm just ahead of the actual switching of the suits, which will happen probably in my sleep, in my dream, in another dimension. The slip will happen then. But I just know and I declare as I move on, it moves up. I move onward and upward. And I move on to a loving family, and I move on to my own adventures, shared adventures. I move on to love and light. I move on to being a part of the good that's unfolding. I move on to being a part of the one that will speak of the good that I witnessed even in my darkest times, so that I can help those that are going through this as well find ways of finding good in everything. I trust this process fully, and I move on with my hands open, my heart open, and trusting. I move on to living with my boy, Bailey, who has always said that he wanted to take care of his mama. And that he loves me. And he said, even during this year, that he would always choose me. And I love that he's sensitive and he's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful boy and a beautiful, beautiful man. I love him. I love him. I love him. And I love my Wolfie. I love my Wolfie. And I trust everything's working out. And I can see a better future for us all, where we're all together. Me, Bailey, and Wolfie. Along with, the rest of, I don't know what the thing is, what's going to happen with the rest of the family that I was born into, but how my relationship with them and how Bailey or Wolfie's relationship with them is up to them. It has nothing to do with me, and I will not interfere or anything. I just won't participate in it. Not mine to participate. And I don't, as Michi, the physical being, the conscious being, and or the God spark, I don't have to allow them, especially when 3311, 3313, I don't have to allow them into my house. I don't have to spend time with them. But I'm not going to prevent, these people from participating. They get to do that. They get to either grow or whatever their lives. I know, though, my children are protected. So that's why I don't worry. I don't worry because I know that my children are protected. Always will be protected. And I've broken the chain, broken the line of fire. I've broken whatever I needed to break with regard to the bloodline that I come from both Rory Paul Harper and Cynthia Faye Camelot. I have broken those bloodlines, and so descendants through me will not have any issues. Not my descendants, not the ones that come through me, through my sons. Yep. Anyway, everything's going to be returned to me. I know that. Everything has been returned to me. Everything has been returned to me. And this is not a want. This is not a plea. I say things in three. I've always said things in three. But the intent behind this is I just know everything's going to be returned to me. Just like those, the mail that was quote unquote mismailed, it got fixed. This too will be fixed. It's just like when I sent that text to Conan. I told him what I wanted for dinner, and he was trying to, like, what are you thinking? And it didn't happen that day, but it did happen, within a couple of days. So I know everything is going to be returned to me. It will work the same or better. I've spoken, and I know it, and I see it, and I expect it. That's the thing, I expect it. Just scanning the body real quick. Yep, no resistance. So there, I don't need to look outside me for any kind of validation. I will just, other than finding what I need to find, because it has been returned to me. Reach, reach, reach. Wolf magic, reach now, reach now, reach now, reach now. Ooh, there you go. My intent with switch words to call it in, call it back. Yep. It was amazing to realize as I was kind of in that in-between space that my calling in all that help and all that guidance to come and be with me and surround me while I slept, which at the time I was thinking, well, this is kind of weird that I'm doing it. But I didn't stop myself from saying it. I didn't stop the intent. I didn't put up any kind of resistance in my body. I didn't feel any resistance in my body, and I didn't send out, contrary thought. And so I just welcomed that in, and I did find it to be an anomaly, but I still welcomed it. And then to listen, to turn that thing on and have the exposure, speaking to the subconscious, which means I was speaking to everybody in this realm, exposing, updating everybody. So it's all, this is pretty big. So what I'm seeing now is that means that as other people slept in it, because I slept with that, and I took, all that in and stuff, and this is not the first time, I've already seen it several times, all that information got disseminated, and so it will show up in their For You page or news feed or through a friend or through whatever, or something is going to open their eyes that they're going to see this and they're going to know it. They're going to feel it. It's going to make them physically ill to know this. But they're going to seek out the strength and support and grace of others. And they're going to be met with people that are going to be willing to receive and help and guide, but not do the I told you so or put them down because we want to welcome people to come in, to come to the light, to renounce the evil, and to renounce those that had done evil. And by doing that, by renouncing them, rebuking them, and disavowing them, they cannot, they have no standing, they have no support, they have nothing. they're done. They're done. They're done. It is done. It is done. It is done. This is over. This game is over. And now all we're doing is the wrap up. I'm awake. I'm awake. I'm awake. I'm awake. And I was listening to Carrie, and she was talking about how, all this stuff we're feeling and stuff. And it makes sense that I would be awake now, and then like a little bit later, when the body shows up. It's kind of like when you're watching the movies and it shows somebody get sucked through and, and then the rest of their body kind of shows up later. It's kind of like that. But it seems that in the movies, it seems like it happens so fast, but really it takes a few days, I guess, for the body to show up. Especially after you die. Oh, it could be, even more significant, like after you have your ego death, maybe it only takes 3 days and then you're moving on and stuff. I don't know. That's awesome. That would be groovy. Because of the 3. Anyway, I've had a lot of spontaneous tears. I do gotta tell you that there's a little bit of imposter syndrome feeling, but that's not a true feeling. That is because it's so like, it's like cognitive dissonance, except for the fact, instead of me like knowing, no, this can't be real, I'm just kind of like in shock by it, but processing it quickly. So I cry about it, and everything. And then the imposter syndrome would be that, oh my God, this can't be real. But I do know that it is real, that I've made a connection, and I'm not renouncing it. I'm just having to come to grips with it and everything. And wow. So today is the 23rd. So 5 and 25, 7, 5 and 7, that's 12, still 3. So that's good. Also, another way of looking at it is the 5 and 2, 2, 5 is 9. So the ending, if we look at it as just the 25, then that's a 7, that's a spiritual ending. And if we look at the 225, 2025, that's 9, that's a physical ending, of something. And then today being the 23rd, which reduces to a 5, which is a change. And then the 11 the divine is supporting a change, both spiritually in an ending of the spiritual connection and physical connection is how I read that. 4433. I love it. I love how we speak together, which comes to 77. Yeah. And also the divine numbers saying, yeah, you're spot on. So, and then the 77 also ending a spiritual, verifying the spiritual ending. Wow. Some pretty heavy stuff. And then just to leave it at that, and then watch it happen. I'm just going to watch it happen. I focus on the house and the knowing that I am the light, that I am the light, that I am the light. And all those things, you know, you're not the center of it. Yeah, actually I am. Yeah. So, I love that. I love you. I love you, Michi. I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you. And I'm proud of you. You're safe, you're loved, you're cherished. You're safe, you're loved, you're cherished. You're safe, you're loved, you're cherished. I'm safe, I'm loved, I'm cherished. I'm safe, I'm loved, I'm cherished. I'm safe, I'm loved, I'm cherished. I am the light, I am the light, I am the light. I am aware, I'm awake, and I have figured out so many connections. And I am open, and I am open to receiving because I declare myself the winner of this game. I declare myself ready to move on. I declare, even if I don't feel like I'm ready, even if I haven't figured everything out, I declare myself ready to move on. I declare myself ready to move on. I declare myself in my highest timeline ready to move on. I declare it. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Love you.